The ocean covers 71% of our planet, yet we have mapped more of the surface of Mars than our own seafloor. Scientists recently captured audio recordings and thermal readings from the deepest trenches that defy every known biological law.
Remarkable stuff here, captured for the first time ever. The giant squid in its natural habitat. The mysterious creature can grow to 50 feet long with eyes the size of dinner plates.
These findings suggest that the abyss is not just a dark, empty void, but a place hiding massive, ancient secrets. From sounds that travel 5,000 miles to massive heat spikes suggesting a predator larger than anything in history, the deep blue is waking up. But here is the catch. What they found down there might change history forever. The loudest sound ever recorded. The ocean is silent, or at least that is what we are told, but if you lower a hydrophone deep enough into the black abyss, you realize that the silence is a lie. In 1997, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, known as NOAA, picked up a sound that shouldn't exist. It originated from a remote point in the South Pacific, a place so far from land that the nearest humans are usually astronauts on the space station. They called it the Bloop. Now, you might think this was just a whale or a shifting tectonic plate, but here is the catch. The sound profile was organic. It had the wavering frequency of a living creature's voice, but the volume was impossible. For a biological creature to make a sound that travels over 3,000 miles through the dense ocean, it would need to be significantly larger than a blue whale. We are talking about a creature that would dwarf anything in the fossil record. Scientists scrambled to explain it away as an ice quake or a glacier fracturing, but the frequency modulation, the way the pitch rose and fell, looked terrifyingly like a voice. And get this, the bloop is not the only sound down there. There is Julia, a sound recorded in 1999 that sounds like a low, moaning coo, and the train, a sound that resembles a massive engine chugging along the seafloor. These sounds suggest that the deep ocean is bustling with activity that we are completely blind to. The ocean is effectively a soundproof room, and we are only pressing our ear against the door. But the audio anomalies are just the beginning of the nightmare. While NOAA was listening to ghosts in the Pacific, researchers in Australia were dealing with a much more physical threat. In 2003, a team tagged a 9-foot great white shark. This was a healthy apex predator, the top of the food chain. They wanted to track its migration. 4 months later, the black box tag washed up on a beach. When they plugged it into the computer, the data shocked everyone. The tag showed the shark swimming normally near the surface. Then, instantly, it plunged 3,000 feet straight down into the abyss. That is a terrifying depth for a great white, but the crazy part is the temperature reading. The temperature spiked from 46 degrees to 78 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. The only way that happens is if the tag and the shark attached to it were suddenly inside a stomach that was massive enough to swallow a 9-foot shark whole. Scientists crunched the numbers. A huge whale could not get that deep, and another great white would not be big enough to eat a pier that size without a messy struggle. The data implies a super predator, something colossal patrolling the deep trenches, eating the things we think are monsters. It suggests that our understanding of the ocean's food chain is missing the top layer. This connects directly to the legends of the Kraken and the Leviathan. For centuries, sailors spoke of massive tentacles and beasts that could drag ships under. We laughed them off as myths. But when you look at the bloop recordings and the super predator data side by side, a pattern emerges. There are things down there that are too big to hide, yet somehow they remain unseen. The ocean is excellent at keeping secrets, but technology is starting to strip those secrets away. The scary thing is not that these creatures might exist, it is that they have been there the whole time, swimming just beneath our hulls, and we had no idea. We mapped the ocean floor with low-resolution sonar, but 80% of it is still a total mystery. We know more about the craters on the moon than we do about the geography of our own planet's seabed. And in that 80% of darkness, anything could be hiding. What most people don't realize is that these anomalies are not rare. They happen all the time, but they are often classified or dismissed as sensor errors because the alternative is too difficult to accept. The deep ocean is a hostile, high-pressure environment where human biology fails instantly. We are intruders there, and based on the sounds and the disappearances, the locals know we are coming. The darkness hides a hunger we can't comprehend. The sea that glows at night. If the sounds of the deep are frightening, the silence of the surface is even worse. We have all heard of the Bermuda Triangle, that patch of ocean between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda where planes and ships seem to evaporate. Flight 19, the USS Cyclops. These names are famous. But the Bermuda Triangle is just the tip of the iceberg. The ocean is riddled with these vile vortices, areas where the magnetic field behaves strangely and the weather turns violent without warning. Take the Devil's Sea, also known as the Dragon's Triangle, off the coast of Japan. It is the Pacific counterpart to the Bermuda Triangle. In the 1950s, the Japanese government declared it a danger zone after 5 military vessels disappeared. And you guessed it, the research ship vanished too. No distress signal, no wreckage, just gone. It's not that simple though. These zones are not just eating ships, they are messing with time and navigation. Pilots flying over these areas report their instruments spinning wildly, losing contact with the ground and experiencing electronic fog. It is as if the laws of physics get a little flexible in these specific coordinates. Some scientists think it is methane gas erupting from the sea floor, creating bubbles that sink ships instantly. Others point to rogue waves, massive walls of water that appear out of nowhere. Speaking of rogue waves, these were considered myths for a long time. Sailors would come back to port telling stories of 100-foot waves that struck on clear days, and scientists would roll their eyes. They said the mathematics of ocean swells made such waves impossible. Then, in 1995, the Draupner wave was recorded by instruments on an oil platform. It was 84 feet tall. The myth was real. If rogue waves are real, what else were the old sailors right about? Let's talk about the Mary Celeste. In 1872, this ship was found drifting in the Atlantic. The sails were set, the cargo was intact, and a 6-month supply of food and water was still on board. But the crew was gone. The lifeboat was missing, but there was no sign of a struggle or a storm. It was as if they just decided to leave in a panic. What could make an experienced crew abandon a perfectly good ship in the middle of the ocean? Some say it was sea madness or a fear of an explosion from the alcohol cargo, but there is another phenomenon that might explain it. The Milky Seas. This is a rare event where the ocean glows with a bright, continuous white light that stretches for thousands of miles. It is caused by bioluminescent bacteria, but seeing the ocean turn into a glowing white plane at night is enough to break a sailor's mind. Satellite imagery has confirmed that Milky Seas are real and can be the size of Connecticut. Imagine floating in the pitch black and suddenly the water beneath you starts glowing like a celestial body. It looks like you are sailing through the clouds or into another dimension. For a superstitious crew in the 1800s, this would look like the end of the world. Then there is the Sargasso Sea, the only sea in the world without a coast. It is defined by ocean currents, not land. It is a massive, swirling trap of sargassum seaweed. In the days of wind-powered ships, vessels would get stuck in the weeds, becalmed by the lack of wind. The crews would slowly run out of water, staring at the thick brown mat of weeds that held them prisoner. They call it the graveyard of ships for a reason. Basically, the ocean has trapdoors. Whether it is a magnetic anomaly that spins your compass, a rogue wave that snaps your hull, or a field of glowing bacteria that makes you question your sanity, the water is treacherous. We build massive steel ships and think we have conquered the waves, but the ocean constantly reminds us that we are just guests, and guests can be evicted. The weirdest part is the ghost ship phenomenon, which is still happening today. The UVSS Cas-2 was found drifting off Australia in 2007. The engine was running, a laptop was open and turned on, and food was on the table ready to be eaten. The 3-man crew was nowhere to be found. It was the Mary Celeste all over again, but in the digital age. No distress call, no struggle, just an empty boat motoring into the horizon. These vanishing zones suggest that there are natural forces, or perhaps unnatural ones, that we haven't mapped yet. The ocean is a dynamic, chaotic system, and sometimes it just swallows things whole. But sometimes it spits things back up. Alien life on Earth. When we talk about aliens, we usually look up at the stars, but we should be looking down. The creatures that inhabit the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones are more alien than anything we could invent in a movie studio. The pressure down there is crushing, the temperature is near freezing, and the darkness is absolute. Life has found a way, but it had to twist itself into nightmares to survive. Take the big fin squid. This thing is the stuff of bad dreams. It was captured on camera by oil rig submersibles at depths of over 8,000 feet. It doesn't look like a normal squid. It has these massive elbow-like bends in its tentacles which trail down for 20 feet like sticky ropes. It just hovers there in the blackness, drifting, waiting for something to brush against its arms. It looks more like a daddy long-legged spider crossed with a ghost than a cephalopod. Then there is the giant oarfish. This is the likely origin of all those sea serpent legends. These fish can grow up to 50 feet long. They are silver, ribbon-like, and have red fins that look like a mane. They usually live deep down, but when they are sick or dying, they rise to the surface. In Japan, they are called messengers from the dragon's palace, and legend says they wash up right before a massive earthquake. And get this, dozens of them washed up right before the 2011 tsunami. Coincidence? Maybe, but the locals don't think so. Everyone is obsessed with the megalodon, the 50-foot shark that ruled the prehistoric seas. Science says it went extinct millions of years ago, but the ocean is vast, and the coelacanth, a fish thought to have died out with the dinosaurs, was found alive and well in 1938. If a 6-foot fish can hide for 65 million years, could a 50-foot shark hide in the deep trenches? The super predator data we talked about earlier certainly keeps the hope or the fear alive. But even if the megalodon is gone, the colossal squid is very real. We only found our first live one in 2007. These things have eyes the size of dinner plates and hooks on their tentacles that can swivel 360 degrees. They battle sperm whales in the deep, leaving massive scars on the whale's skin. It is a war of titans happening right now beneath our feet, and we never see it. But let's look at something even stranger. The contorted squid. NOAA spotted this recently in the Gulf of Mexico. It was twisted into a shape that made no biological sense, swimming in a way that baffled the experts. It looked broken, inverted, like a creature that didn't know how to be a squid. The deep ocean forces evolution into bizarre paths. There is also the immortal jellyfish. This tiny creature can physically revert its age. When it gets sick or old, it turns back into a polyp, its baby stage, and starts life over again. It is biologically immortal. If we could unlock its genetic code, it could change human medicine forever. But for now, it just floats in the dark, cycling through life and rebirth endlessly. And we can't forget the microscopic monsters. The seafloor is covered in viruses and bacteria that human immune systems have never encountered. As we drill for oil and mine for minerals, we are churning up this ancient sludge. Who knows what biological agents are sleeping in the sediment, waiting to be woken up? The black swallower is another horror. It's a fish that can swallow prey 10 times its own mass. Its stomach stretches into a grotesque translucent balloon. It eats until it physically can't move, digesting a meal that is bigger than itself. It is a perfect metaphor for the deep ocean. Gluttonous, efficient, and horrifying. The crazy part is that we are discovering new species every time we send a rover down. The Casper octopus, a pale, ghost-like little guy found off Hawaii, may look cute, but it guards its eggs for years, slowly starving to death. The sacrifice and brutality of the deep are unmatched. And then there are the globsters. These are massive, unidentified organic masses that wash up on beaches. They have no face, no bones, just tons of tough, blubbery flesh. Scientists usually say they are decomposed whale carcasses, but some of them defy DNA testing for years. The St. Augustine monster, the Montauk monster, these carcasses remind us that we don't have a catalog for everything in the water. What is swimming in the deepest trenches? We assume it is just gelatinous blobs and worms, but the Ninjan sightings in the Antarctic suggest otherwise. Japanese research ships have reported seeing massive white humanoid forms in the icy water. They are described as being 90 feet long, with arms and a human-like face. Is it a trick of the light on an iceberg? Or is there a branch of evolution that took a very different turn in the isolated cold of the Southern Ocean? The line between mythology and biology is thinner than we think. The ocean has layers, and the bottom layer is a place where reality bends. The ocean below the ocean. We are now entering the hadopelagic zone, the deepest trenches of the Earth. And at the center of this desolation is Point Nemo. This is the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It is the spot in the ocean that is farthest from any landmass. If you were floating at Point Nemo, the nearest humans to you would be the astronauts on the International Space Station when it passes overhead. It is a dead zone. The currents prevent nutrients from flowing there, so there are hardly any fish. It is just thousands of miles of empty black water. Because it is so remote, space agencies use it as a dumping ground. It is known as the spacecraft cemetery. There are hundreds of dead satellites in the wreckage of the Mir space station sitting on the seafloor at Point Nemo. It is a graveyard of human technology resting in the most lonely place on the planet. But even Point Nemo isn't the strangest geological feature. That honor goes to the underground ocean. You see, we learned in school about the crust, the mantle, and the core. We thought the mantle was solid rock. But scientists analyzing diamonds spewed up from volcanoes found traces of a mineral called ringwoodite. This mineral holds water like a sponge. Calculations suggest that there is a massive reservoir of water trapped in the Earth's transition zone, 400 miles beneath our feet. This ocean contains 3 times as much water as all the surface oceans combined. We are living on a water world, but most of the water is on the inside. This changes everything we know about how the Earth formed. It means the water didn't just arrive on comets, it seeped out from the inside. Then there are the brine pools, or the jacuzzi of despair. These are underwater lakes on the bottom of the ocean. The water in these pools is so salty and dense that it doesn't mix with the rest of the seawater. It has its own shoreline and waves. But the water is toxic. Any fish or crab that accidentally swims into the brine pool goes into toxic shock and dies instantly. Their bodies are preserved in the brine for decades, a silent underwater graveyard. It is a lake of death within the ocean of life. Let's look at the Mariana Trench. It is the deepest scar on the Earth's crust, going down nearly 7 miles. Mount Everest could fit inside it and still be covered by a mile of water. The pressure down there is 8 tons per square inch. It is like having an elephant stand on your thumb. We thought nothing could live there, but life is thriving. Amphipods, snailfish, and giant single-celled amoebas called xenophyophores dominate the trench. But strangely, we have found trash there too. A plastic bag was found at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Even in the most remote, hostile place on Earth, the human footprint is visible. But here is the catch. The deeper we go, the more anomalies we find. The Baltic Sea anomaly is a massive disc-shaped object found on the floor of the Baltic Sea. It looks incredibly like the Millennium Falcon. Sonar shows it has drag marks behind it, as if it crashed and slid. Electrical equipment fails when ships get too close to it. Is it a glacial deposit, a Nazi secret weapon, or something from the cosmic ocean above? The cosmic ocean concept is interesting. It compares the depths of space to the depths of the sea. And in a way, they are the same. They are hostile, dark, and require life support to visit. But the ocean is heavier. It has weight, and that weight does something to the human mind. This brings us to the call of the deep. It is a psychological phenomenon similar to the call of the void. When divers look down into the infinite blue, many report an overwhelming urge to just keep swimming down, to let the air run out, to become part of the dark. It is a seductive, dangerous instinct. Nitrogen narcosis, or the rapture of the deep, makes it worse. It gets you high. You feel drunk, happy, and invincible while you are slowly dying. The ocean tricks your brain into wanting to stay. The Yonaguni Monument in Japan is another puzzle. It looks like a massive underwater city with carved steps, pillars, and right angles. Geologists say it is natural erosion, but it looks too perfect. If it is man-made, it means there was a civilization that existed before the last ice age, before the sea levels rose and swallowed history. It suggests that our history books are missing the first chapter. There are also purple orbs. In 2016, the Nautilus exploration vessel found a glowing purple orb off the coast of California. It looked like a biological Pokemon ball. Scientists had no idea what it was. It turned out to be a plurbranch, a type of sea slug, but for a moment it baffled the world. The ocean is constantly throwing these curveballs at us. And finally, the Milky Sea isn't the only light show. The green flash is a rare optical phenomenon that happens right as the sun sets over the ocean. It is a burst of emerald light. Sailors used to think it was a sign of souls returning from the dead. It is physics, of course, the refraction of light, but standing on a deck in the middle of nowhere, it feels like magic. The ocean is a place of contradictions. It is the cradle of life, but it is filled with lakes of death. It is our home, yet it tries to eliminate us the moment we enter it. It is mapped, yet unknown. Basically, the Earth is not really our planet. We just live on the dry islands that poke out of the water. The real owners of this world are swimming in the dark, 30,000 feet below. The human impact. So what is really down there? We have talked about 50-foot sharks, underwater aliens, and disappearing ships. But we need to separate the facts from the fiction. First, the megalodon. Is it still alive? Probably not. A predator that size needs a massive food source, and we would see the bite marks on whales. We would see them on sonar. The super predator that ate the alpha shark was likely a colossal cannibal great white, or perhaps a pod of orcas attacking in unison. Nature is brutal enough without needing dinosaurs. The silence of the deep isn't hiding a megalodon. It is hiding things that are far stranger, like the gelatinous, shape-shifting squids we are just now discovering. The Bermuda Triangle? It is not a portal to another dimension. It is a high-traffic area with volatile weather. Statistically, ships don't sink there any more often than in other busy lanes. The mystery is largely a creation of media and exaggeration, but that doesn't make the ocean safe. The physics of methane gas eruptions and rogue waves are real threats that can snap a tanker in half. The danger is natural, not supernatural. As for the call of the deep, it is a trick of the mind, a glitch in our survival instincts when faced with the overwhelming vastness of the abyss. We are not meant to be there, and our brains short-circuit. But here is the real twist. The scariest thing in the ocean isn't a monster, it is what we are doing to it. We are changing the chemistry of the water. We are bleaching the coral, melting the ice that regulates the currents, and dumping plastic into the deepest trenches. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a floating island of trash twice the size of Texas. That is the real monster. We are looking for aliens in the water, but we are the invaders. The ocean has survived for billions of years. It has recovered from asteroid impacts and mass extinctions. It will survive us, too. The question is, will we survive the changes we are making to it? The underground ocean in the mantle proves that the Earth is dynamic and active. The Bloop proves that we are not alone in the water. The existence of the coelacanth proves that the ocean can hide its secrets for eons. We have only explored 5 to 20% of the ocean. That leaves 80% of this planet as a total question mark. There are cures for diseases down there. There are animals that defy aging. There are geological energy sources that could power the world. Or there could be pathogens and slumbering threats we should leave alone. The ocean is the final frontier. It is right here, scratching at our shorelines. It demands our respect, and it deserves our fear. Because every time we think we have figured it out, it throws up a new mystery, a new sound, or a new creature to remind us how small we really are. So after hearing about the impossible sounds, the underwater lakes of death, and the super predators, I have to ask, would you ever agree to a one-way trip to the bottom of the Mariana Trench? Or is the surface scary enough for you? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more mysteries. Until next time.